Welcome everyone who's just joining. Welcome to a special Reimagine Father's Day event. So good to see everyone joining. If you're just getting in, if you'd love to click on the little chat button and share where you're calling in from and how your Sunday's going. What are you up to today? I mean, you're obviously here with us, but do you have any special Father's Day plans, or how do you celebrate this day? So let's see, we have some folks from New Jersey, from Cape Cod. Welcome, Jeannie, our fearless co-founder. Denver, quiet weekend in Denver. The Haight-Ashbury, Indiana. Okay, we're getting some Mexico. Well, it makes sense that everyone's joining in from all across the world because we have a very, very special program today featuring two people that are friends, that are incredible humans, that have a special connection through music and through loss and through love. So thank you for joining us. We're going to get started in just a minute. Give everyone about 30 more seconds to join us. I wonder if my own dad is here with us. That's what I'm curious about.
I am.
Oh my gosh. That sounds good. Dad, hi.
Hey, Brad. Nice to be here.
Let me see if I can find your photo here. It's good to hear your voice. We're actually at the same residence. I just drove about an hour and a half to my dad's place, but we can't be in the same room because he is a physician and he's been social distancing from all of us, including my mom. But it's really special to celebrate Father's Day. I haven't actually seen him. Actually, I did see you for about a split second. He came in, his shirt was off. No, sorry, Dad, to embarrass you. I was like, Dad, put on a shirt. We're going to get on Zoom. All right, there you are. I see you. You're looking good, shirted. Okay. Well, now that the crew is assembled, let's get going. It's just great to be here with this. Well, we're going to talk about who we're with in a second. But my name is Brad Wolf, and I'm the founder and executive director of Reimagine. Reimagine puts on experiences just like this one that help people face the hardest parts of our existence. From caregiving to serious illness, to dying, to death, to grief. And then really though, we're thinking about how do we face these things to help us live our lives more fully? How do we celebrate the people in our lives and the moments and the world that matters most to us while we can? So that's really the two sides of Reimagine. And this is part of a festival that we're putting on called Reimagine Life, Loss, and Love, which has been going on since COVID. We've had almost 400 plus events that have taken place across the world and over about 25,000 people who have participated. And this is one of these events that we're putting on. And we're just so grateful that people have found us in the corners of the internet who are willing to explore these topics with us and to dive deep into things that may be hard, but that bring us together. And so that's why we're here with some incredible guests. I want to share with you briefly before we get started. If you're new to Zoom, please turn your microphones off, which yours are automatically off, but they're going to be off, I think, through the remainder of the session. If there's any questions or anything, you can use the chat button. You'll see there at the bottom. You're already using it to share where you're calling in from. But if you have any questions about how to work Zoom or anything of that nature, you can click on anyone with the name Reimagine on that blue icon that is now set to everyone, and you can shoot us a message and we will help you. Also, you can email us at hello@letsreimagine.org if anything comes up. Please keep your cameras on if possible, because it's great to see your smiling faces. And even when you're not smiling, some folks are eating. Do whatever you want to do, hugging each other. I see just couples and individuals from across the world, and it's just nice to see everyone. So thanks for turning on your video. And that is really it for today. I want to thank our festival sponsors. Reimagine is a nonprofit organization that puts on events like this only because of these incredible organizations and individuals that have stepped forward to support our work. And we also rely heavily on the individual contributions from attendees like yourself. So thank you in advance if you've already donated through this when you signed up. Thank you so much for doing that. But you'll have a chance to donate later as well, only what you can. So thank you for being here. Dad, are you there? Let me unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? Dad? There you are. All right. So it's because it's Father's Day, and I get to be with my dad, like I mentioned, who's on the really on the front lines, caring for people in his 70s, which I really appreciate. Dad, would you mind reading the intention today, the reimagined intention that you see on the screen?
I don't see it.
No?
No, sorry. I don't see it.
Okay.
Michelle, do you see where it is?
I got it, dude.
I see you, Brad, but I'm sorry, I don't see it.
All right, well, that's probably better. It's good to see you seeing me. Okay, I'll read the intention for today. This is the reimagined intention that we use to set up all of our events. There is no life without death, no love without loss. They are in constant complementary motion. In the face of distance, illness, racism, and isolation, we are here together, reimagining a changed world. Kinder, slower, more just. We are reimagining the giving and the receiving of love, the cycles of loss and new beginnings, and what it means to be fully alive. We are here. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce the two people that are really going to make this event special for us today, Craig Minoa and Dr. Dawn Gross. Now, here is whose photo is this?
That'd be my dad and my grandpa, my dad's dad, and myself. I'm guessing a year and a half or something there.
So that's Craig speaking from Cloud Cult, and we're going to get a chance to hear from him in a second. Thank you. And then this photo must be, is that you, Dawn?
That is most certainly me.
What a cutie. And that's and I take it that's your father.
Yeah, my dad's the cutie. Absolutely. That's Roy.
So I want to start out by introducing Dawn. Dawn aims to inspire each of us to stay in a constant state of discovery about what is uniquely essential to us, to talk about it with the people we love, and to relentlessly pursue a healthcare system that is equally interested and curious to discover what these things are, to ensure that care that matters is really the only thing delivered. Dawn is a hospice physician, and her father's death, which was subsequently, she became a hospice physician after her father's death and was subsequently invited to join the palliative care team at UCSF. And we know Dawn specifically through a radio show that she hosts called Dying to Talk, which was really helped set the origin of all of this Reimagine through a crazy circuitous route. And I was a guest on her show, which introduced myself to our co-founder, Jeannie Blaustein, who's on the East Coast and happened to be listening to Dawn and my interview. And Dawn subsequently has been a big part of Reimagine. And Craig has also been a huge part of Reimagine as well, playing music for us at our first event, opening night in San Francisco, and then again in New York City. His music and his story and his message is right in line with everything we believe in. And with that, for this very special Father's Day, I'm going to turn it over to Dawn.
Thank you, Brad. And I'm so moved to see so many dear friends and loved ones and family joining us today. And I suspect, Craig, if you see all of these incredible people in our community with us. It is really moving. And our hope today is that this particular Father's Day allows us to name some of the emotions and some of the experiences that we may be having in the face of loss and grief that often goes maybe hidden or not acknowledged. So I'm really grateful. I'd like to introduce why I'm excited to be doing this with Craig Minowa. For those who are not yet seekers, I promise you will be after this hour together. And for those of you who already are, Craig needs no introduction. He has been creating extraordinary music with an incredible collective, really an orchestral, talented group of people, but it's just Craig today because of COVID. I have said, if I could have a soundtrack to my life, really the lyrics and music that Craig creates for Cloud Cult would really form the basis of it. There might be a sprinkling of some Wagner in there and a little Stephen Sondheim here and there, but really the backbone of it would be all Cloud Cult. And the reason I think you'll soon discover, if you don't already know, is that Craig seems to be able to find the words to name the emotions that are otherwise pretty much uniquely kept to ourselves and often go without finding their voices. And so song after song, Craig names this. And I think there's divine reasons for that, but there's also very real deep experience with that Craig and I will be in conversation about. So I think that's enough said, Craig. Is there more that you want me to share right now, or can we let people's ears really open up to the beauty of your craft?
I'm honored to be here, Dawn, and it's always a pleasure to see you on any level that we can see each other. So, yeah. Well, let's do some music and then let's do some chatting.
Sounds great.
I'm gonna start off right away with a song for my dad and change the camera angle too. Got all sorts of fancy pants stuff to do to be a part of Reimagine today. So I'm gonna, like Dawn said, I don't have my full band with me, but I am gonna add in some guitar and keyboards and things like that, and let's start that off. Come on, Dad, let's go down to the river. Can't you hear them singing your name? You've been laying in this bed for months now, and it's hard to see you in pain. Or your love you could not explain in words you chose not to say. I can feel you slipping away. There's an old farm road that'll bring your ghost to heaven, but I know you're a little afraid. Wish I could still be that kid in the back of your Buick, making sure you get there okay. And Dad, we may differ in how we pray. Wherever you go, save me a place. I can feel you slipping away. There's a cold, dark dusk down in the corner of the basement where you worked your days away. I can never claim to know your story, but I love you just the same. Oh, your love you could not explain, and the words you chose not to say, and the family you fought hard to raise, and the friends who celebrate your name, and the sickness that strangled your brain, and the secrets you took to your grave, and the feelings you kept in a cage, and the sorrow that came out as rage. I can feel you slipping away. I can feel you slipping away. I can feel you slipping away. Come on, Dad, let's go down to the river. Can't you hear them singing your name?
All right, I'll clap so you can hear for everybody. Thunderous applause. Craig, so the name of that song is Victor, right?
Yep, that is Victor. That's for my dad.
Your dad's name is Victor. There's so much in that song that I feel when you sing it, and I have questions, if that's okay. I'm going to start, but I know that the chat is open, and I invite everyone who's joining us to share your questions, share your experiences as well, and we'll do the best we can as we go along to try and include as many as possible. First and foremost, Craig, when I hear you sing the words, I can feel you slipping away. I mean, it feels like a wail in the most cathartic sense. And there's a dear loved one on who's joining us today who she shared with me when her beloved dog died, which was very much their child with her husband. Our dog, who was neighbors with her, would howl, would wail, really in grief. And she shared how she wished as humans we could wail as openly, that we could share our grief that way. And I wonder if you might let us inside how this song came to be, and if there is that experience with this song or with others of you being able to express that kind of what we would call anticipatory grief, or even the grief now that your father has in fact died, and what that's like for you to sing it today.
Yeah, I could. I think because he had a fatal illness that the family went along with for a couple of years, and the last few months were really hard, and I was fortunate to be at his bedside for the last few days. But I think there was an assumption that because we had so much time to prepare, that when he actually did pass, that we'd be ready for that, And so when it happened, we have 3 young children, and as a dad too, I think it was training from my dad. My dad didn't show his emotions very much, and so I I think there's a part of my head that doesn't let me fall apart in front of the kids. And so there were there were several weeks there where I I wasn't wailing like a whale. I think that's a really good, the moaning like that. It wasn't until there was one day, Connie, my wife, brought the kids out to the grocery store, to the library or something, and suddenly the house was empty, and I just fell apart, and I wasn't expecting it at all. And this song came out at the same time, and for a long time, music has been a tool for me to get into areas of myself that I can't get into, and I'm without that medicine. So
You talk about music as medicine, and you also mentioned that you knew your father was living with a serious and fatal illness ultimately, and as a physician and now one that practices specifically taking care of patients and families living with serious illness and often life-limiting illnesses, I'm just curious how supported you felt by your healthcare community. Did they follow along with you as you were witnessing this? And to your words of when your father ultimately did die, and even though you knew it was coming, I'm hearing a sense of maybe we weren't as ready as we thought. If you could speak to that experience.
yeah, I do feel like the staff that was kind of checking in with him regularly and checking in with the family during, his last few weeks, it was just amazing, the kind of work that they do, that you do, was it was so inspiring. My older sister wanted to go into that line of work, and
Wow.
and I I I don't know. When we had our show in New York, I had really hoped to ask you, what really drew you into your line of work, which is exactly that. And I'm hearing from Brad today that it was connected to your dad.
Absolutely. Yeah. So uh, my father died on July 11th, 2006. And up until then, I was actually training and beginning to practice as a hematologist and bone marrow transplanter, so someone whose focus is on blood cancer. And uh, and my father, in the last 6 months of his life, none of us knew officially it was the last 6 months of his life. He knew, and although he wouldn't say it, he'd actually been guiding me my whole life as a very young child. He had taught me his values. He was the administrator of a hospital here in California. And he took me one day when I was about 6 to the hospital, just, bring your kid to work day. And he pointed to some colored lines on the hospital floor. One was green and one was pink. And he said, if you follow this pink line, that will take you to where babies are born. And if you follow this green line, that will take you to where the really, really sick people are in the intensive care unit. And he said, and I developed a program that made sure the nurses would rotate between both of these so they could see the full circle of life. And he said, in that same moment, now, Dawn, I need you to know something really important. I need you to know I never want to go down that green line. He said, if I were to ever be so sick, I would want that time, energy, and money to be spent on my grandchildren's education. And what stayed with me as a 6-year-old hearing that wasn't that what my dad was talking about was his own mortality and anticipating he would die at some point. Again, he was not living with a serious or life-threatening illness at that time. What I heard as a 6-year-old was my father expects grandchildren. And that was really terrifying to me as a 6-year-old. But it stuck. He had planted the seed just then. And so decades later, when it turned out he actually was now approaching the end of his life, he continued to reinforce with me that where his values and priorities are being with his family and seeing his family grow and be educated. And so my son, who you've met before, Josh, is one of the products of his wish, right? It's not why I had children, but it certainly is part of recognizing his dreams. And when he died, we didn't have, it sounds like, the guidance around you. We had hospice care for 4 days that he requested, none of his doctors did. So again, we were following his lead. And it really, as much as I thought I was ready, as you just shared in your words, when he actually died, I wasn't. And I've since learned that I don't know that it's possible to be ready for that kind of absence. Mm-hmm. And that forced me to take a huge pause and reinvent myself, and found my way to this specialty of hospice and palliative medicine. And today I'll just conclude with, I found an old series of lecture notes that he took when he attended a presentation on end of life in 1997, which was the year he was diagnosed with cancer. And I was reading his words in his handwriting. I see all the seeds of what I practice now. He actually completely infused in me. I had no idea that's what he was doing, but it's all actually there in his writing. So I'm immensely grateful that what I get to do is actually grow what he was imagining and expressing sort of in this way. I know I wouldn't be practicing what I'm practicing had he not died. I would give everything to have him be with me today. And I know in these ways, he is very much with me and my children. Thanks for asking.
That's a beautiful story. 9 years then, diagnosed and then when he passed. That's a long journey.
Yes, it is. And he kept much of it to himself or to my mom, that they protected myself and my brother out of love, for sure. But at the same time, they were very focused on living fully and enjoying life and enjoying family, and not having that derail anything. And I think what I've learned in living with grief is that it's not something to get through, but rather it's something to integrate and incorporate and grow with. And again, I think your music is constantly reframing that for me and reminding me in different ways. Some of the words, even in Victor just now, as I was listening, and I've listened to it many times joyfully and gratefully. There was a lyric in there about, wherever you go, I hope there's a place, save me a place for me. And it's sort of this intention that I have of, yeah, I'm right there with you, Dad. And I want to be with you, Dad. And I hear that. That's how I interpret it. So thank you for saying it.
Well, I can say from that picture of your dad and you, as however old you are, you quite fully have his eyes. You guys are looking at each other with both the same excitement and awe for the universe, and if that reverberates through time, then he's still looking through your eyes. So
indeed. And we can come back to all the ways it reverberates, which I suspect you will keep bringing us through. You have another song right now, Into My Arms, which I think speaks again to what we're pointing to right now. If you want to
just quickly, just briefly,
yeah.
I'm going to chime in because I've gotten some comments. Just want to see if there's any possible way, Craig, to reduce any of the feedback from your guitar slightly, or we can try to mute you when Dawn's talking, because there's a little hissing sound, and it sounds so beautiful when you sing, but the guitar is feeding back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can manually ride my volume here so that when I talk, I can pull myself down and I'm not going to talk.
Craig doesn't need anyone else. He can do the engineering, the producing, the multi-instrumentals. Dawn, you're lucky that he can't just interview himself.
He totally could. Trust me. He could just play. We'd all be fine.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a new little cabin out here. We have a recording studio, a full-fledged recording studio that the whole band will come to record in, but because of coronavirus, we have no idea how long it's going to be before we're all together again. So In the meantime, our 3 young kids are home and homeschooling, and so there's a lot of overlap between what was the recording studio and what's our daily life. So I guess after 3 months of that, we had this kind of old broken down Amish cabin to work on, and I moved everything out here so that I could try and get some stuff done during my work hours. But yeah, so this song is about that. Don, what you said about your dad talking about the understanding of mortality and how that infuses the necessity of living life to its fullest and being present here and now, and really putting everything that you have into your children too. So this song kind of pegs off of that. It's called "Into My Arms Again." It's not, we don't have, this isn't released or anything like that yet, and I'm going to do a weird version of it that I haven't tried, so we'll see how fun that goes. But yeah, it's we have the 3 young kids, and I constantly have these flash forwards of seeing them when they're grown and moving out, and it's this constant balance of wanting to keep food on the table and keep the house fixed and things like that, but at the same time be present enough to recognize that this is a really sacred time. And even on Father's Day today, going back and forth between that balance of like, okay, I'm going to do a web concert tonight, but I don't want it to consume my thoughts too much. I want to be present for you too. And I don't know how well I did at that, but I'd keep trying. But this is about that. I'm going to do some loops with this one. And it's really high tech out here. Like, I'll trigger a loop and then I have a sustain pedal to hold down the loop, but I have to do volume with one of my feet and rhythm with one of my feet. So I'm going to hold the sustain pedal with this weight, super high tech. And we'll see if that works. It works sometimes in the middle of the night. Okay, we don't want that. We're going to go with this. Sadly that's not working very well. There you are, you funny pants. Always ghosts in electronics. There we go. First time that I held you, I couldn't catch my breath. I knew that someday I'd have to let you go. The most painful thing to teach you is how to leave the nest. But someday you will fly away and my heart will leave my chest. Just know I'll always be here every time you need to rest. Back into my arms again. me, 'cause you're still my baby doll. My darling, I'll protect you from it all. You've been learning how to walk away since we taught you how to crawl. And someday I'll be holding hands with the shadows in these walls. Just know I'll always be here every time that you fall back into my arms again. Last time that I held you, I couldn't catch my breath. I knew that it was time to let you go. I gave you your roots, and so I had to give you wings. But watching you fly away is a heartbreaking thing. This old house is way too quiet. I miss hearing you sing. Come back into my arms again. Not the kind of person who's good with goodbyes, so I'll just save you a seat at the table again tonight. I made your favorite recipe, but it just isn't the same. And if I could, you know I would do it all again. I choose to believe that good things never end. Come back into my arms again. Back into my arms again.
Oh, it's just, yes, I love this song. Josh and I were just chatting. We're like, do we know this song? Yes, we know this song. And it immediately specifically brings my daughter to mind right now. For those who have participated in some of Reimagine's other program, they might have heard a story I told about her about a month ago. So my daughter is 20, she's in college, and she elected to not stay home after spring break when things were just transforming in the world, and to return to her to college in Vermont. She said to me, "Mom, you wouldn't leave a 4-year-old alone, would you?" And she was referring to her horse, which is in Vermont. And I said, "Of course. I mean, what am I going to? I would not leave a 4-year-old alone." And in that moment, there was absolutely this sense of, I don't know when I get to see you again. I don't know when I'm going to get to hold you in my arms again. And at the same time, from conception, quite literally, there is then the absolute expectation that my job as a parent is to empower her to discover what's most important to her life and to live it fully. And there's no question for her. Horses are her life. And her being able to sort of declare, I need to go back to my horse, was an absolute affirmation that I had done my work, as painful as that is, to have to say goodbye to her. But at the same time, it's that duality of, I know that's actually what I've been ideally hoping for her to discover. And that really hurts as a parent. You just captured that in this song. And I don't know how you do that.
She's still out in Vermont?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful place to be, but it is a long way away from you right now.
It's a long way away. And there's no great solution as to how to bridge that other than through this type of medium, which I'm grateful for that we have at least this. But it's not the same. So I appreciate you again finding the words finding the way to convey that. We have a question from one of the people tuning in who's asking, how is it that you can hold both the dark and light emotions, if you will, or experiences, and capture them so concisely in these songs? How do you do that, Craig?
I think I think 99% of the time I'm kind of an emotional mess and all over the place. Can travel the gamut of emotions in a 5-minute period, and the only way that I can really stay anchored and sane is music. Even if I wasn't making a living doing it, which I'm actually blown away and honored and continually just have extreme gratitude for the fact that I can do it for a living. Even if I couldn't do it for a living, I would have to do it for medicine, or because I notice when I'm not, if I don't play music for a few days, and I know Brad's a musician too, he probably feels the same way. You just start to go a little zany, and you're like, oh, and yeah, I don't know. I give credit to the music and to the ethers, and I just mess things up. So I just kind of, the more I can stand out of the way, the better things will be.
Well, you have up next one of, it's hard to say my most favorite because I truly love all your songs. It's probably just in the moment. But I think for today, where Victor is for your dad, this next song speaks to your grandfather, and his role in your life. And I think for many of us, Father's Day isn't just about our dads in the classical sense, but there are many father figures in our lives, and grandfathers, certainly for myself, are very powerful ones. So if you wouldn't mind sharing Transistor Radio with us.
Yeah, this is for my grandpa. This is my mom's dad, and my dad taught me really good work ethic. He was a very hardworking man. But the side effect of that was that unfortunately he wasn't around a lot. But my grandpa, my mom's dad, kind of stepped in and taught me things like carpentry and some life lessons and stuff. So when he passed, that was a hard period too. But like Dawn said, you have paternal roles in your life from a lot of different sources, not always just your biological father. I'll try this sound again. No, not that one. We'll go with this guy. See how you do. That wispy cello that I miss from Daniel, our cellist. Transistor radio, though he turned in his bones 20 years ago. And he said, kid, there's something that I'd like to show you. Get your things, it's time for us to go. So I grabbed my backpack and my flashlight and a bag of caramel corn. I got my bicycle and the radio, and I headed on the road. I said, I'm ready for what I'm about to see. Yep. We headed north till rain and turned to snow, through rusty towns and dusty gravel road. And I said, Grandpa, where's this thing you wanted to show me? He said, kid, you got a long way to go. So I went through canyons, caves, and catacombs. I sailed on bicycle boats. I slept in chapels, in brothels. I met the nicest folks. I said I'm ready for what I'm about to see. Yep. I heard Grandpa on my transistor radio. He said, kid, it's time for me to go. And I knew that there was something that I wanted to show you, but it's time for you to find it on your own. Let me tell you about rage when his signal died that day. There's nothing out there, and I don't care if they take my life away. I'm not ready, and I don't want to see. No. It's been years since I've heard my transistor radio. Yet I keep going to where it seems I'm meant to go. And I finally realized what he wanted to show me. Where I've been and where I am is the show. Where I've been and where I am is the show.
Woo.
Thank you. Oh gosh. Again, the catharsis I feel, you know, when that signal died that day, right? That just, ouch. And then this transformative place you get us to of, now I see where you were trying to get us to go, right? Right here, right now. It's extraordinary.
What you were talking about with your dad earlier was so much that of you learned so much after he was gone.
Yeah, it's just such a gift. So again, for anybody who's tuning in right now who hasn't, this is your introduction to Cloud Cult. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what you're in store for. So I invite you all to discover. There is a movie, there are a few movies you've made. The Seeker comes to mind. Again, I think specifically given today's conversation around Father's Day. And while you're not going to perform the song Come Home, again, to me, it speaks to this very physical yearning that your music seems to address and even have me personally experience when I hear that song, and that just eternal longing to have my dad come home. And so don't want to spoil The Seeker, but I invite people, that might be an appropriate experience for those who might be particularly noticing an absence today, magnified because it's Father's Day, to give yourself a gift of The Seeker. I know that our time is starting to run short, which makes me very sad, but I know you have a couple songs in store. One that you are graciously honoring my personal request on behalf of my son, Josh, who is honestly the reason why we even get to have this conversation, because he is who introduced me to your music. So it's his fault. And this turns out to be, I just learned, his most favorite Cloud Cult song. And it happens to be my name. So would you please share Dawn with us?
Yeah, get through some reverb on there. So we have an album called Light Chasers, and in Light Chasers, it's a concept album, and it's kind of the search for. It's a story of people who are on a search for God or the purpose in life, or why are we here? That big question, and so the whole album is kind of following their journey of trying to find that point, and it's. In the album, it's kind of a physical journey of where it's astronauts actually setting off into space and trying to find the end of the universe, and also it's an inner journey. And there's a point in the album that the revelation starts to happen, and that's in this song with Dawn, and it's that realization that we can search as much as we possibly can. We can reach out as much as we possibly can, way out there. But what is right here ultimately is the answer of what our purpose is right now. And as simple and as silly and as mundane as it can be sometimes, you know, the whole universe is curved. So if you follow the curve of the universe, if you go as far as you possibly can into the universe, you're ultimately going to curve all the way back around and come right back here. So the end of the universe is right here. And so that's what the astronauts in the Seeker, or in Light Chasers, discovered as they came up on Dawn. So thanks to Josh for bringing up this request, because it's not one that we've ever done in live shows before. So a lot of finagling around to come up with a creative idea here. The airport's clear for a landing. The snow is melting on the garden. All my anxieties are in a box I mailed to Pluto. And I feel like the sun knew why. Gonna burn it all away. Why? We rest our heads upon one pillow, beg for falling stars to break in our windows. Outside the evergreens blow out their birthday candles, and I feel like the wind do I. Gonna blow it all away. Why? Pray to the I don't know that made me. Protect my friends, protect my love, protect my baby. I may have worries, but I'm not going crazy. And I feel like the rain. Why? wash it all away. I can't breathe unless you're in my air, and I'm not here unless you're somewhere near. When old age calls, we'll share a rocking chair, and I feel like the dawn knew why. That light is getting near. Why? That light is getting near. Why?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So we're coming to the end of our time together. There is a song that I think really brings us full circle, Craig. And I want to highlight it particularly for the fact that you are a father, and there are many people who, many men who maybe became fathers and didn't know it before they died. And my dad became a grandfather for the third time, but never knew it, at least while he was on this planet. And yet my third child seems to speak of his grandfather in present day tense, seems to speak like he really, really knows him. And as you describe space and this circular nature, and you and I have talked before of how your songs have this sort of looping and timeless quality, depending on where you sit in them, in the lyric. What perspective are you speaking from? I think it brings us all together in the songs you've shared with us today, and in trying to prepare for the time when none of us are here. What is the legacy that we strive to leave, as well as what is the life we want to live right here, right now? And that's the song You Were Born. Can you sing for us, please?
Yeah, before I play it, I just want to say that again, it's a huge blessing to meet up with you guys. Reimagine, I mean, you guys as individuals for sure, and Reimagine as a whole. For us as a band, we always kind of felt like we never fit in with any, like, the, you know, go to college indie festival or any kind of any kind of festival that we would go to. We never quite, our message was always just a little awkward, I guess, and we met up with Brad and Don and Reimagine as a whole, and we finally felt like, oh, we're home. And the work that you're doing is just incredible. And you know, it's unfortunate that when for our band and for Reimagine as a whole too, that they feel like if you're going to talk about death, that it's like morbid, like, oh, well, why do you want to dwell on that? You know, we all know that's going to happen. Well, it's not about that. It's about, like, the more we recognize that, that little line over there, the more that we can really take advantage of the space that we have between here and there. And it's about, like Brad says in the intro part, it's about living fully and being here right now and not taking anything for granted. So yeah, so this is a song called You Were Born. You were born into a strange world. Like a candle, you were meant to share the fire. I don't know where we come from, I don't know where we go, but my arms are made to hold you, so I will never let you go, 'cause you were born. change this life. You were born to chase the light, 'cause you were born. Love your mother, yeah, she's a good one. She'll build you armor, keep you warm as a hen. The stars may fall, the rains may pour, but I will love you evermore, 'cause you were born to make this right. You were born to chase the light, 'cause you were born. Oh my precious, oh my love, when they come to take me, I will hold you from above. I don't know why we're here, and I don't know how, but I'm here with you now. I am here with you now, 'cause you were born to make this right. You were born to change this life. You were born to chase the light, 'cause you were born.
I am so grateful to get to be with you here now because you were born. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes and joining us. Thank you, everyone. Brad, you want to take us away?
Or just to say, Craig, Dawn, thank you so much for the connection you have. Dawn, your devotion and love of Cloud Cult and the fact that you really brought them to reimagine is such a blessing for all of us. And just what you do with your own life is so meaningful and has helped so many people in your message as well. And that you take your platform to try to share these types of messages with the world. And Craig, likewise, you know, Reimagine is really about how do we take our creativity and turn it into something that allows us to move what we're feeling into something else, something to transmute those feelings into something that makes us able to move forward in a good, positive, beautiful way. And your music is such an expression of that. And I think it does that not just for you, but by sharing it with all of us, it does that for all of us as well, especially on this Father's Day. It's just really meaningful. And Dad, I see you here. Just to say, Dad, that I have this bracelet on. I don't know if I've told you about this, but this is a bracelet that has that I've been wearing for the last year. That has your dad, Grandpa Elliot, who was a prisoner in Auschwitz. And I only knew him for a few years, but I've been wearing this bracelet with his name engraved on it, and listening to Craig's music today. I don't know, and just looking at you, that I can't be with you, even though you're down the hall, just makes me just appreciate you. And maybe, Dad, if you just want to share your last reflection, I just want to give you the space as my own dad to take us out of here.
Well, thanks, Brad. I just want to thank Craig and Dawn. It was really so meaningful today, so spiritual. And for me, what it does is it underscores what Father's Day for me is, which is I look in two directions. I look at my children, and I look the other direction at my father, who's no longer alive. And it's a day that makes me think about the connection between those two separate generations and how they come together. And I see the impact of my father, who was all about giving and caring for those who were less fortunate. And I see how it's moved into my daughter and Laura, and into you, Brad. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Thanks, Dad. So thanks, Craig. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. Maybe what we can do is we can close this. I have a song that I really love that I thought I'll just play the recording of to take us out today, which is Dance for the Dead, which is a song that I think really does a great job of bringing back all the fathers, all the people before us that made it possible for us to be here with one another today. And so thanks again for coming. We can all just be with each other as we close out. If you have to go, feel free. But if you want to just sit with us and listen to this last song, by all means, join us. Thanks for being here. And in fact, let's see if I can get this to play.
This is the dance that brings the dead. This is the dance that brings the dead to the living. Just say, I miss you every day, you know. This is the dance that brings the dead to the living. They say, I'm with you every day, you know. This is the dance that brings the dead to the living. Just say, I miss you every day, you know. This is the dance that brings the dead to the living. They say, I'm with you every day, you know. Can you hear them come? Can you hear them come? Can you hear them come? Can you hear them This is the dance that brings the dead to the living. Just say, I miss you every day, you know.
Huh. All right, everyone, please, if you aren't already doing this, please follow and support Craig and Cloud Cult at their Patreon site, patreon.com/cloudcult. You'll get to hear some sneak listens and new unreleased songs, live web concerts, web chats, and behind the scenes video content. And honestly, to support, self-sustaining musicians who make this their career to do what Craig's doing, it just means so much to all of us. And Patreon, from my experience as a musician, is really the best way to support an artist. It allows you to just basically be a small, tiny benefactor to allow Cloud Cult and Craig's music to go on and to continue having days like this. And Craig, we hope to have you back again and just be with you on your journey because music is about being together, and being together with your music is such a special gift for all of us. Everyone, happy Father's Day. And we'll see you at some upcoming Reimagine events. Check out letsreimagine.org for all the incredible upcoming events that we have this week. Baratunde Thurston on Wednesday. If you want to hear one of the most incredible speakers on race in this country, I really encourage you to come to this event. He is, I don't want to say too much, but join us on Wednesday evening at 5 p.m. for a really special event. And send your love to all the dads out there. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Don. Thanks, Craig. We want to unmute everyone just for one last goodbye.
I think everyone can unmute themselves.
You can unmute yourself and just all say
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Say goodbye.
Much love.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, say goodbye.